Go back in history, the less types of media there were. You get it to where it's truncated to the paper.
Mm-hmm.
That's why newspapers are just fascinating. There's nothing else that can take you back that far. Even the internet couldn't be what it is today without, at one point, relying on the history that came out of these newspapers or out of books that people got information out of these newspapers.
I was at the California State Library myself recently, looking at their book and other material they have that shed any light on who these early editors and publishers were. And I have found that in the old San Francisco newspaper, the Alta California, on October 27th, 1864, there's a notice saying, "Tomorrow a new newspaper starts in Grass Valley."
And you mentioned you actually have a history of your own with the paper and that you used to deliver it.
Oh yeah. Only broke one window.
You've even been published in this paper, too.
Actually, it was really fun. I always was athletic, so walking wasn't the problem. But I met a lot of, when they talk about people, we're having an older society now. We had an older society when I was a kid. It was totally retirement. And there were a lot of wonderful people that you could stop and talk to and really get the feel of what they'd kind of been through in their lives around here, what their views were on Nevada County. In those days, the paper was delivered by mostly children, unless, they were outside the rural area, then they had drivers, but it was paper girls, paper boys, and you were out there slinging papers normally off your bike.
Delightful, endlessly delightful. As you go through the different periods, as the mid-19th century or the turn of the century or the 1950s, you can see how our mores and our cultures and our attitudes change.
People seem to overlook that. They think, oh, books are passé, newspapers are passé. I'm going, you wouldn't have the history you have today without both of those sources. They're very important. Oh yeah, it's like working a puzzle. I've always liked puzzles, so I'm going, okay, you're not hiding this, you're not getting away with this. These men were fascinating. I think that Lion Jim Townsend, as much as I hate to say, because he was only with the paper 8 days, he deserves credit for being there, but for what he tried to do, he nearly killed the paper. So I was thinking, well, why don't we know who Blumenthal is? We wouldn't have that paper today, in my opinion, if it wasn't for the fact of what they did to stop the paper from being basically a big traitor act going on.
Earliest issues, Madeline Helling, who's named the main library building carries, was a librarian starting sometime in the 1970s, and she realized she knew what a valuable source the newspapers were, and she realized that in fact, we have an article from the paper talking about how these old issues, were going to be donated. It was before her time, and she realized after a while that she did not have a complete run of the Union, and she started studying it and found out that the paper had started in 1864, and while there are many years represented here, there are volumes missing. We get donations every year of people who either left us material in their states or cleaned out their attics or their trunks, and they bring in papers from the 19th century, things that you couldn't imagine still existed. And I can't believe that paper issues from October, November, December 1864 don't exist somewhere, and so we're trying at every possible opportunity to ask our community neighbors to, if they have elderly relatives or if they have attic boxes or trunks in the attic, to take a look and see if they can't find an 1864